Welcome to Tuesday night. Appreciate you guys giving us a piece of your week. We are ready to get started on the WCAC Spectacular, which we're about to do momentarily. You guys feeling pretty good today? Feeling pretty good this week?
Feeling better than you are.
Redskins won. I'm feeling great.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just doing just fine.
Yeah.
This is my medicine. Tuesday night. All right, y'all. We got some talking in there, Maddie. Break up the audio.
Talk it.
Talk it up. Talk it
Talk.
up.
Walk it like you.
We're live, right? We got to talk a little bit so we don't get
We're
the
live. And now we're going to
mixed match.
hit record. Here we go.
Yeah. Go right ahead.
Welcome back to the Basement Podcast Studios of First Amendment Sports. I'm Ken Marangolo. This is the WCAC Spectacular. He's Tim Strachan.
That's right. We're right in the thick of it, boys. This was a great weekend. This past weekend, it's only going to get better from here on out.
He's Kevin Ricca.
Listen, no one in this conference is yellow, but sure looks like we are tonight.
You guys look cute.
I mean, come on, man. I wear my
Really,
Beat Dallas,
cute.
my Beat Dallas twice a year. I didn't know I was going to be competing with Kenny McNamara over here.
I didn't get the memo about the gold shirts. Sorry.
I did have to
I
go.
don't look good in gold. Makes me
Maroon
look
and gold
bad.
is McNamara colors, as we all know. Don't want to get too far without welcoming in Matt the Real Deal Seal.
What's up, guys? Great weekend. We just witnessed a heck of a game ourselves, didn't we?
We did.
We sure did.
Hell of a Friday night in the WCAC, boys.
So let's get started right there. Friday night was awesome. 2 games featuring 4 nationally acclaimed programs, all in the WCAC. First game took place away from us at the PG Sports and Entertainment Complex.
Learning complex.
Sorry.
Education.
That's
going
right.
I've
on
gotten
there.
education there before when I watched St.
You're
John's Mountain there
entertaining.
2 years ago.
You learned over there.
DeMatha Gonzaga, and just the updates made it sound probably was worth it. Like the updates of that game when we were at the St. John's Council game, getting the updates.
First of
were
all,
like,
getting the
what?
updates sitting right next to Jeff Clay was for me personally just wonderful.
Something special.
Hey.
To share it with a fellow 1994 Gonzaga grad.
And a fellow
The news that was
St.
coming
John's
in.
94 alum giving us the update. Shout out to Doug Grantham. Appreciate you listening always. Giving us the up-to-date deal. He said, you want me to keep giving the updates? I said, I'm standing next to Jeff Clay. Keep him rolling. Thank you, my man. But, hey, everyone was interested. We're all...
Did we get like a missed extra point from him at one point in time?
I did, but it was reported on Max Preps that there was a missed extra point. It was after the walk-off. And there was no extra point necessary. And I guess that's an auto... Yeah, so...
Look, it shocked
your back,
me.
Doug.
It shocked me. It was tied 7-7 throughout regulation. I mean, that just was that. I would never have thought that. Given the amount of talent on both sides of the ball, the way that the offenses have been putting up points.
Both first half scores, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the second half, nobody scored.
First quarter scores. Or no, one was the first quarter, one was the second quarter.
Gonzaga's first drive, they got the ball and marched down the field, and it looked like it was going to be wide open. It looked like it was going to be, and man, it slowed down a tad bit.
And can I just say, T, the one thing, I think the last thing I said on the show, or one of the last things I said on the show last week was I think they're going to need more than their 27.
Yes, we all thought they were. We all thought,
but they got their 27.
Exactly.
And they made it work for them like they have all season long.
They did. That's creepy. That's
It
really
is
weird.
It weirded
Again,
me
I
out.
didn't even think about it, but you're right. 27-21, 3 overtimes.
That's because that's the story.
But that's where
the
the fireworks hit, was in the overtimes, and it was a suspenseful overtime to the point where they were going for it on 4th and goals.
Both teams did.
There was to cap it off. There was DeMarco Helms with the interception in the end zone to get the ball back. Marshawn Lloyd punching in at the end. Again, names that we keep hearing week after week after week, making those types of plays. Logan Neely also had an interception, and Nick Cross also had an interception. We talked about that duo and how Caleb Williams, how well was he going to be effective against 2 guys that are going to be playing big time top 5 football next year in college. So great game. I think both coaches had great quotes afterwards. That it was a hard fought game. The kids gave it everything they had. It was a lot of fun to watch, to be a part of. And I know Gonzaga's hurting with now 2 losses. And is it no? 2 losses.
Yeah.
Two losses.
Back to back.
And But they're saying right now they're playing for field position, for the
Sure.
most part. No offense to McNamara. We don't think that they're going to be able to win enough to get into the talk this
Currently
year.
ranked ahead of Gonzaga, but whatever, that's okay.
That's
in
true.
the WCAC.
This is true.
Coach.
But, at the same time, I think it was Elijah said that I think we just saw a preview of what's to come maybe, in a couple more weeks when they're likely to, face each other again.
Oh, well, all four of these teams are saying it's about each other
sure.
because when it all gets, done and everything is settled, there's going to be some rematches coming out. But, I mean, hey, let's not forget about, and I know you're a quarterback, but let's not forget about the defense that was played in the 4 quarters leading up to that.
Oh, yeah.
Because what I saw was Caleb Williams, yes, maybe the stat line doesn't look tremendous for the young sophomore, but, man, is he full of talent, and he came out the gates flinging it. I mean, I'm talking he's crossing routes. Matt Steele, we've talked about his fades, his back shoulder fade. The kid throws a gorgeous ball, and he made some great plays. He made some great plays running around with his feet. The kid's fast, man.
He was their leading rusher. Yep.
Yeah,
2
ran it
touchdowns.
16 times for 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was 13 of 30. That's not a great percentage, but the 3 interceptions what really hurt him in this game, making young mistakes. But he had a touchdown, but 203 yards against a very stout DeMatha Staggs defense.
Yeah, that defensive front for DeMatha showed up ready to rock and roll. Gonzaga had a tough time getting that run game started. Like I said, that first drive, that ball that Caleb threw to Aaron Turner, I believe, would have been just a 70-yard score. They tackled him down around the 6. And a very smart play by the young QB on a recognition play. No one ran out on the slot, and he got up there quick and flung it out to Sam Sweeney for an early score. And you're thinking, we're going to have another one of these 38-31 type deals that they had against Good Counsel last week. And it slowed down a little bit. And the defenses, including Gonzaga's front, I mean, that's Marshawn Lloyd right there, man. And I know he had a heck of a day. Yeah, I feel like they corralled him a little bit, boys. I feel like he was
carries,
with those numbers.
154 yards. He ended up with 4 TDs, 3 of those in the overtime. But
he's
still,
special.
154 yards. That is special. I love the fact that he said it. That the team, when they won, went out and mobbed him. And he said, but his quote was, they wanted to give it to me. I wanted them to give it to me. That's what you want your 5-star guy to be saying, and for him to produce on top of it.
And he even said he worked out with the practice squad this week, the scout team,
Yeah.
so he could get against the DeMatha
look.
first team defense because he knew what he was going to see in Gonzaga's defensive line. So even more power to Mr.
That's kind of like Elijah taking
doubt.
an old school like Coach Wooten when he used the tennis rackets to go against Lou Alcindor to get people to used to shooting over him. Elijah taking a little page out of Wooten's book there. That's a nice one.
Well, and it certainly was impressive, T. The walk-off by Marshawn Lloyd to end it. The play before was the play by Helms. It's a jump ball, and Caleb Williams was looking for his favorite guy on the back end of the crossing route across the formation. John Marshall has been his go-to guy all year long. Sweeney's caught a bunch of them, don't get me wrong. There was a huge play by Dean Ingram on 4th and 9 from the young QB to Dean Ingram to keep that drive alive, which was just sick. I mean, it was the DeMatha Silence was going nuts, and they stepped up and connected for 10 yards, I think, on a 4th and 9 to keep that drive alive. A jump ball between John Marshall and DeMarco Helms, 2 stud seniors in this conference, and Helms had a bit of the angle and came down with it. Next play, walk-off. That's a quick ending to a great football game. It was a sudden death situation, and you know what? It's going to be someone in this league. That's what it comes down to. And
Triple overtime.
Triple overtime.
It's a tough way. It's a tough way to lose. Gonzaga is obviously a very good team, and we'll get to their task this week. But why don't we cue up our good friend,
our correspondent?
Now we all went to the
National Game of the Week,
St. John's Good Counsel game
on ESPN.
Thinking that, it was the game of the week. I think the game of the week might have been
the meatloaf.
Ooh.
Yeah, we want it. Yeah,
Come on.
doing my show. The council football. Yeah.
This man does not
Tim!
disappoint.
Oh may I help you?
I know we have
okay?
the right number.
Is
That's
this
a fact.
voicemail?
That's a fact.
We're not ever confused. Welcome back, Tim. Welcome to the basement. You're among friends.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Great game on Friday night, my friend.
Amazing game. Amazing game.
I just got to say real quick, what an unbelievable environment for the WCAC, both schools involved, the Catholic University of America, and ESPN. It was just everyone just should be glad handing left and right. I mean, it was just packaged and bow-tied for everyone who cares. It really, really put a great spotlight on what we have going on around this place.
The conference put a amazing product
Without a doubt.
on the field. And
Without a doubt.
We'll dissect it, but from 10,000 feet, that 10-10 first half, which is what the most people in the country, if they were watching it all, they saw that. It was such a high brand of football. It was fun. There was points, but there was also the stops were great. The first downs that got made were great. Even from A to Z, soup to nuts, it was really, really, really good football.
No, I thought both teams defensively did a heck of a job in the first half, disguising things, switching things up. I thought St. John's was pretty physical with them, although Good Counsel had a lot of success running that ball. Savion Wilkerson, that kid is very, very good.
He's their speed burst guy.
Oh, my God. He had a couple unbelievable plays.
Tim, he was so much fun to watch. I was hearing your voice when they gave him the ball a couple times. He's certainly worth the price of admission, and I know he generated some fans and followers by being on ESPN that night. I had a real fun time, again, on staying on the Good Counsel side of the ball. Littrell, to me, stood out, and I probably spent way too much time, sipping beers afterwards and in the days since, wondering why, maybe he's not as highly acclaimed, and I get it. I was entertained, by his performance. I thought he stood out, and I thought he deserves.
Well, I think that's going to change. I think that's going to change after last week's game because, he certainly, and I've watched this kid all year, he certainly impressed me, the style of play that he was putting out there last week. I mean, some of those runs, breaking tackles and then showing bursts of speed. Now, on that one play, the D tackle did take it away from him. Good Counsel retained the football, but we all know that, that was taken away from him. But aside from that, I think he played a really, really tough game. And I think he's going to have a lot more offers on the table just on that exposure alone.
He gets every inch out of every run.
Yeah, he's a bruiser, man.
As much possible.
He's a tough runner.
Mm-hmm.
I was very impressed by him, and I was trying to find somebody who wasn't already getting all of the love, and rightfully so. No one's getting more love than they deserve.
He's got 6 offers. It's not
I
like he's
understand.
getting shut out.
I know.
What you're saying.
Yeah,
I know what
so
you're saying.
He runs angry.
He does. He does.
I was impressed by him. I think if we're all being honest, probably the passing in the first half wasn't as crisp as you would maybe hope for a senior quarterback and from a top program with their wide receivers. Things change. Go ahead, Tim.
They struggled to connect, on some big plays and key situations in the past, aside from, a couple big conversions, throughout the season. And but I'll tell you one thing, that ball that he put on the money to Cam Hart streaking down the middle of the field with 3 St. John's kids chasing him, that was on the money.
Heck of a play by
right there.
Cam Hart, too. Going up high, snagging it out of the air in the middle of the field like that. That was pretty impressive. That was like a third down situation.
That was the 4th down play.
He didn't come down with it.
Yeah, he's talking about the bomb that he missed.
Oh, I thought
Tim's
we
talking
weren't
about
there
the
yet.
95-yarder.
We're still talking about
that
the first
wasn't
half.
right.
I was talking about the fact that
I agree
the
with you.
Council opened up the game.
Yeah, we're in the first half.
With an impressive, very impressive first drive. They were caught in a couple 3rd and long situations. He threw it up high in the middle. Cam Hart went up, got it in traffic.
That was a great play.
Huge play.
It was a great play.
But then they punched it in for 7, and I thought it was really working in Good Counsel's favor early on. I said if they could keep it close or at least keep a small lead with that running game and milk the clock and keep it out of St. John's hands, they had a very good shot of winning this game, and it looked like that's the way it was going in the first half.
That was a high skill play. From our standpoint, and on that particular play, Tim, we were standing underneath the goalposts, and they were coming right at us. Cam Hart comes streaking across, and you really got a sense of the ball was whipped. It hit him right in the hands, right where it needed to hit. It slapped his hands. He brought it down. He took a pretty good shot, and he got the yardage. So high quality, high caliber level of football played by Good Counsel, especially in the first half. And Tim, with one last Good Counsel kind of point, the right tackle, and his name is going to escape. Not Preston.
It's Landon.
Landon. I knew it was something like that. 72.
No offense, Landon.
No offense,
Ken will
Landon.
get it right the next time.
I'm trying to go. I'm going.
Linemen don't get their
not
names
open
called
book.
out very often. You
Oh,
gotta
we
get it right,
gave
dude.
shout-outs all week last week.
gotta
Just
get
Ken
right.
wasn't doing it. We figured it out.
Yeah, yeah.
He's going to be a bad boy. Tim, you've been talking about him
Yeah,
all
yeah,
year.
yeah.
How do you think
He was good.
How do you think he played on Friday night?
How did I think the O-line played? I mean, I thought there was a lot of physical play out there. And I mean, being 10-10 at halftime, I mean, I think that was everybody got what they wanted at that point. Number one versus number two. Some huge plays on both sides of the ball. Some key turnovers. I mean, Good Counsel's interceptions in the end zone this year have been significant in big games, to keep that where it was.
I was really
At
impressed.
some point, I'm gonna start talking about St. John's. I'm just
Yeah,
letting
no,
let everyone know.
We will, because what I was most impressed about, though, in the first half, I thought St. John's was going to actually do in the first half what they ended up doing in the second half. I was impressed with Good Counsel's defense. I thought they were doing a great job of jumping their coverages, jumping their looks right before the snap of the ball, confusing St. John's, getting them off their rhythm, doing a great job on the strategic part of the game, Tim.
Well, both of these teams, have a lot of speed on defense, and that was evident out there Friday night. Absolutely the way they were covering. I mean, obviously, St. John's has some speed guys on O too, because a couple plays that happened over there, I was
No one has more speed on O in the nation than St. John's.
No.
astonished at their ability.
Cam Ross showed
With
that.
Mordecai in the
Good
back.
Counsel marches down the field and scores, and St. John's comes right back, and Cam Ross down the left sidelines was a blur to the house. You're not going to find two faster receivers on any football team that play football as well as these two do. They're great football players with tremendous speed.
You only need one. And give me number 5. I mean, give me
Rakim
Jarrett.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that
So-
because
I was just going to say, Tim, just to close out what I've been hearing from you all season long about that offensive line. So, and we've talked
Boys are
about
big. The Beef Brothers.
the Beef Brothers are
No, they
big.
did a good job.
I
especially
love
the first half.
I'll stay and watch one guy. That's how my grandfather watched the Redskins, and he said you just watch one guy. And so there was a stretch where all I did was watch Landon, and I watched him for like 3 or 4 straight plays, and he impressed the what out of me. First of all, I mean I guess he's 5-star, right? He's a third 5-star that we were missing.
Yeah. He's been an All-American since 8th grade, apparently.
He's, if you love football and especially if you're a Redskins fan and you appreciate offensive line play and you know what it means and it's how you win, and you watch him for a stretch of plays, it's super enjoyable. I did the same thing with number 5, Rakim Jarrett, and I happened to be doing it at the right time a couple times, Kev. He showed up on national television, for himself, for the school, for the conference, for whatever. He showed out.
You don't want to blink your eyes when the ball goes in this
can't.
direction.
I'm going to say this. We did a halftime show, and we talked about what we thought would happen, and I said, if you continue to single cover Rakim Jarrett, it is not going to work out well. I've watched him for 3 years now, and it's been just such a joy. So when that halftime comes, I know St. John's is a second-half team. Gentlemen, offensively and defensively, all season long, they've been doing it. The size of this team, the strength, the speed, it wears you down, and it becomes you got to come ready for a 16-round fight if you want to stand till the end with these guys toe-to-toe. And I'm not saying that no one can, because they can, and Good Counsel's built too. It just that speed comes into play at times, and at halftime, look, St. John's gets the ball back, and it was time for them to come down and punch it in. They didn't. They punted. And Good Counsel gets the ball back. Sevion gets the ball. First down on the Good Counsel sidelines. Who comes and makes the play again? The same guy we talk about every week, Isaiah Jordan with the Josh Norman punch-out. Smurf, Amon Greenwood, picks up the fumble. And next thing you know, it's time for St. John's to get on the board again. And it's Cam Ross again. And you're sitting there looking at 17-10. Rakim hasn't really gotten involved. Now, he's been involved. He's been taking care. But, all of a sudden, it's St. John's time to rock and roll. And that defense has given up 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns on the year. The halftime adjustments, Coach Gillespie, Coach Casamento, I've watched them now for years. The halftime adjustments, I think they're as good as anyone. And once again, with that level of talent, these players and the kids that have been together, 11 seniors have done this. They've run the gauntlet. They've run this national schedule and this WCAC schedule together for 3 years. That comes to play in an environment like that at halftime when a team's hanging around with you and you're giving a team a chance.
Can I just?
No, it absolutely does. But let me just say one thing, Kev.
Go ahead, Tim.
There's speed, and then there's speed. And number 5 all I can say is, all I remember is Good Council's defense chasing them all day long and being burnt out of the picture.
Well, with a guy like that, halftime adjustments, maybe they decided to just say, hey, let's do a hitch with him because it's almost unfair.
Well, I was talking defensively. Defensively, pitching a shutout in the second half against a team that scored 38 against Gonzaga last week and is averaging 50 against the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
That to me was just knocked down.
I'm glad you also brought up the fumble in the second half. I know we talked about the woulda, coulda, shoulda with the fumble strip.
It was a fumble.
In the first half that St. John's got jobbed on. But the fumble in the second half, if that did not happen, this game would have been completely different. Because I got to think, the way they were running, Good Counsel was running that ball, they would have gone down and possibly put some points on the board. But instead, it flipped the script. It flipped the script, and from there, the speed and athleticism of St. John's was just too much for them. And once they got in front, it was so hard for Good Counsel to catch up.
Well, when
because they have a guy like Rakim.
Was the fourth down conversion, the 4th and 12, where Cam. Tip ball, they caught the touchdown. To go.
That could have changed things too. That would have been a huge game changer.
When your offensive line goes up against Good Counsel's Beef Brothers and they rush for under 50 yards in the second half, and your O line puts up over 90, that changes things. Yes. That's the wear down effect. That's how St. John's plays. So I'm not so sure things would have been changed after that. I'm just saying this team has done this all year long, and you come out and put 21 on someone in the second half. There's a lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I was just going to take issue with the fact that you call St. John's a second half team. Because I see them as a 4-quarter team. I think that they might not have gotten all of what they wanted out of that first half from a standpoint of it only being 10-10. But they were able to continue at that same pace, and no one's been able to keep up with them for 4 quarters all year long. And
that was my point. Once that fumble happened in the second half and St. John's then got on top, it changed everything for Good Counsel. You can't go with a run game and try to catch up with a team like St. John's. But St. John's got so much talent that with a guy like Rakim, you just throw him a hitch, and he can make one little move and has the speed to just outrun you.
That
was just unbelievable.
Turn on the Jets.
And when you have that talent and you got the lead, that's putting the nail in the coffin.
We were in the end zone with
the
the WCAC All-Star squad. The talent we had watching that game in the end zone was just ridiculous. Bernard Joseph, McNamara, Jeff Clay, Gonzaga, all of us.
Jay Williams.
Yeah. All of us were giggling at that Rakim spin to the outside and run, and no one came within 2 arms lengths of him. And that was nuts. I want to give a shout-out to a guy that we haven't talked much about on the show this year, that everyone that we talked to, including all of you guys, and everyone I've talked to since that watched the game, big number 99, Braden Baps, had a coming out party.
Oh, man, I really
Friday
loved
night.
Watching that
Hey,
game.
young man, he's a senior with
Great
a couple
frame.
offers, Carolina, Maryland, Virginia. I'm telling you right now, get that Twitter handle ready for how many more offers are coming in and how thankful you are. And blessed.
He passes the eye test.
Sack strip, who he beat around the corner was the right tackle, was Tengwall.
He did. And listen,
right around him.
Hey, look, he blocked his tail off on the offensive side. I know Coach Griff was certainly proud of him over there. And then the team needed to come down and bring a 5th down lineman in to deal with the Good Counsel run game. He comes off the sidelines, hasn't played much defense this year, although he's obviously willing, ready, and able. And, man, he showed out on about 3 or 4 times where he made plays in the backfield, like you said, Tim, against a 5-star. And, he caught everyone's eye.
He's got a typical
everyone wanted to talk about him.
Framed body,
well,
length,
6'8", 250.
Length, strength,
I don't know if that's typical for anything, but yes, you're right.
Lord.
But St. John's defense, the rich get richer. They have so much speed out there. They bring a guy like that off the bench. Unbelievable.
Yeah, yep. I'm with you, and I'm not ready to just not talk about Soul J going 16 for 26 for 226 and 4.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
The plays he makes in the pocket, and he settled down and got the things going there in the second half. And the plays he made with his feet, he had a move that
which they really weren't asking him to do. He broke
everyone's ankles.
Half.
No.
And he kind of
used to being the best.
He turned on the
field.
He turned on the running, the making the plays with his feet thing in the second half. I thought that was a huge reason behind their ability to go 21-0 in the second half. It was so much fun watching.
It was, and one last shout-out. We talked about specials. I told you at halftime and before the game, Mordecai was got to keep an eye on. He had a 50-yard kickoff return that got him into some good shape. But George Alvarez, a kicker and punter for the Cadets, has been on point all season long and keeping some of their weapons on special teams because they had a couple big ones. that I think one big one. The rest of the time, Mr. Alvarez was putting it in the end zone.
Yeah.
Now, this young man has worked and worked and worked on his craft. This was not his deal a year ago. He's gotten to the point where he's putting that ball out of taking it out of their hands, taking it out of weapons' hands, and that's a huge deal for the Cadets. Their specials this year have been relentless.
He's a multi-sport athlete, too, lacrosse team goalie, by the way, Alvarez. So shout out, young man.
Yeah.
If you've played sports enough in your life, there's a different sound when some guys run. And it has to do with height, and it has to do with like the body makeup and the ability for that person to be fast. When Mordecai runs, it's a gallop and it's a sound. If you're close enough to
I thought
hear
you were
it,
describing me. Sorry about
well,
that.
I was also
Whoa.
describing you too.
Some may say that.
you
If you've been
Mordecai.
lucky enough to play with a guy like that, Taylor was. If you're watching, a Severna Park all-state soccer player, it's this speed and the cleats hit the ground. And when he took the, I want to say it was in the first half, he took a kickoff after Good Counsel scored. He didn't get a huge return out of it, but he was able to get his feet under him for a little bit of a run. He ran about 7 or 8 of his fast steps kind of straight up, and then he did a jump cut. And he wasn't able to get the field enough, and he had a little bit of a slip, and he took a hit. But oh my goodness, it was like a horse galloping. I mean, it's special. And I also thought he played well in defense.
Yeah, he wants to come up and hit you.
Yeah.
And when you move that fast and you want to hit someone, I'm no physics major, but there's going to be a collision.
Well, I tell you what, you take any of those teams right there and you put them on a track meet and they win the state championship. I don't care what state. There was so much speed there on both sides of the ball. But, with St. John's, they practice so hard. They're so physical, and they have that kind of speed. I mean, you'd be lucky to hang around with them for a half. And I'm proud of the way the guys played. And, a couple balls bounced this way, that way. And, things probably aren't different. But anyways.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at what Good Counsel has coming up this week. They are.
Who are they playing? Is this some team from Hyattsville or something?
Some team.
They're hosting,
from
right?
Hyattsville.
Good Counsel's hosting.
Really? Really?
Playing host to DeMatha
Hey, look,
Catholic.
you guys grew up a couple blocks from each other, man.
Really?
Have at it. We're all here to listen.
Some team from
Is that
Hyattsville.
Northwestern High School?
Timothy.
Hey, the thing is
that where
that
they're
you got to
playing?
be worried about, though, Tim Reddy, is that
Yes,
you
sir.
guys are coming in a little wounded, I think. They took some
The
bumps
Baton
and
Death
bruises.
March in 15 days.
They took some
Gonzaga,
bumps and
St. John's,
bruises
DeMatha.
in that game against St. John's, and I
Hey,
don't know
that's
what
this
their health
conference,
is.
gentlemen.
I'm sure we're not going
Yes,
to get
it
an
is.
update, but
Gentlemen.
you got to be worried about that a little bit.
It's a tough march for everybody. Week in and week out. That's football in this conference, and in basketball, everything. You got to play tough teams, and DeMatha definitely is a smash mouth team and plays physical football. And the winning tradition, in my opinion, for DeMatha, gives them a point or two in every game. It's just for whatever reason they know how to win. So they're always going to be a formidable opponent, even if
Good Counsel's got that here recently,
even if
though.
they're the fourth best team in the league.
They've got the same swagger, I think it's not hard to be a prognosticator for this game.
You got to score 28 points.
Yeah, well,
You got to score 28.
you got to get over 27. But it's the team that wins the running game, the team that has the best running game and can control the ball and can get first downs and keep the ball out of the other team's hands. That's the way this game's going to go. This is not going to be a high.
Oh, they're going to run it.
I don't think it's going to be a high-flying act. There's going to be run, play action, run, play action all game long from both sides.
Dude, it's going to be equivalent to both teams lining up at the 50 and taking turns punching each other in the face.
The
to
old
see who's
bare
left
knuckle,
standing.
stand
Yes.
there, toe-to-toe.
Yeah, head or gut.
Trade
Head
'em.
or gut.
Trading blows.
Boom.
Hey,
This is going to be a physical match of the Titans, and you got two teams that do the same kind of thing. They're going to try to run up and smash you, and I think that clock's going to be running a lot because there's not going to be a lot of incomplete passes, and it's going to be exciting.
I would say that regardless of how I look at that Good Counsel backfield, I think Cam is the difference maker in this game. Personally,
yeah.
I think
Cam
the
Hart or Snell?
Cam Hart.
Because there's two.
I know. Well, I was going to say I was making you.
You're trying to get away with two with one?
Yeah, wait in suspense.
Just wait till next week. See which
so-
one made the most plays.
Cam
Hart, he showed. I mean, he showed speed against speed. Again, 3 St. John's.
He's gonna have to do it this week, Tim.
He can fly.
I think he's going to have to be the guy.
DeMatha DBs.
And Cam still can get him the ball.
They got their hands full with DeMarco Helms running wild out there.
Well,
Old number one's no joke, man. He can fly.
Yes.
We need the quarterback this week, Cam Snell, to make some big plays. That has to happen this week, whether it's a run, whether it's a quick pass, whether it's a dive over the end zone. We need him to make a big play this week to win this game, because it's going to be a tough game either way.
I think Nigerian has to do the same thing, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want to go with Lloyd. You want to run the ball. You want to establish the one. You want to control the game. But there's going to have to be some plays made. On play action, there's going to be some plays made on third and longs because it's not going to go smoothly for both teams. I think you're also at a point in the season. I talked about Good Counsel coming in wounded. I'm sure DeMatha's got its bumps and bruises. I'm interested to know what Savion's health is going to be, whether he's going to be available for this week or not. If not, I think there's a lot of things in DeMatha's favor. I just think that they have more weapons that way. But we'll never know. It's also the turnover battle. Who's going to hold on to the ball? Who's going to be able to have that one break?
Good Counsel has done well there.
This is going to be an old school game.
I think it's going to be a low turnover game. That's my prediction this week. Is a low turnover game.
It only takes one, man.
But,
Friday it takes one.
But DeMatha, they ran the gauntlet, Saturday also.
Sure.
They played, how many overtimes were in that game?
3. Yeah.
3 overtimes. So that's a lot of football.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I'll lead it off. I'm going to give the first prediction, and then we'll pass it around, and Tim will let you get out on your prediction for the game. I do have Good Counsel winning 28-27. I think Good Counsel. So what I saw, I didn't see Good Counsel feel like they were 28-27. I think DeMatha gets their 27.
You know, Price is Right again this week.
But I'm saying
$1.
I think it's a close game, and I think that Good Counsel scores points. I think they get, and I think it's the St. John's effect. I think they're going to leave that game feeling pretty good about themselves for 2 quarters. I think they feel like they hung with a team like St. John's, and I do think, like Tim was kind of alluding to, I think Good Counsel feels that a couple calls, a couple bounces, change in that game, and the outcome is different. I think they believe that. That's what I saw them believe that, and I'm going to give them the edge. Over DeMatha team, and it's a slight edge because they just beat a really good team.
Really trying to convince yourself.
DeMatha just beat a real good Gonzaga team, and I'm going to give them credit for that. But I think Good Counsel is just a hair better. Matt, you want to bet?
I'll go 24-23.
Okay.
Good Counsel.
All right.
And I only say that.
The other way.
And I only say that because the home field advantage.
Sure. Okay.
That's the only advantage in this matchup I see.
I get to go third?
Yeah. What do you
All
got?
right, well, I picked against DeMatha last week. I'm not going to do it this week, gentlemen.
Smart
I got
man.
DeMatha beating the Good Counsel Falcons 20-17. I think Good Counsel, like I said, has run the end of that gauntlet. That's a very tough thing. I hope that they're all right. You pray that they're all right. That's more important than anything. But it's going to be a slobber knocker. It'll be a couple field goals kicked. It'll be a time of possession situation, and I think the Stags sneak one out down there in Olney.
Now, T, I had DeMatha last week, just for the record. Go ahead. What do you got?
I think it's right in the same wheelhouse there. Obviously, I'm taking the Stags. I think they're going to come out, and really, it's because I think Good Counsel's coming in a little bit more banged up, having gone against St. John's. I know they had a tough game against Gonzaga, 3 overtimes last week. Maybe it was my perception having been at the St. John's Good Counsel game and seeing those guys come off that field. But I think it's going to be 21-14 Stags.
All right, Tim, what do you got, buddy? Back clean up.
Everybody's making a lot of good points there, and I'm just going to let you guys know I wrote this score down an hour ago, just so everybody knows.
Okay,
this
all right.
Not something
That ink is an hour dry.
I'm not going for the prices right here. Gentlemen, Good Counsel 28, DeMatha 21. I think there's going to be a lot of touchdowns on the ground. I think there's going to be a lot of tough defense. I think it's going to be a low turnover game. That's my call. Low turnover game. And Good Counsel on Friday night, it is a fantastic atmosphere. I think they're going to have a great crowd out there. And, I think it's going to be too much for DeMatha.
You going to be there?
He's got cotillion. He's got cotillion on Friday.
Okay.
I hope he's chaperoning.
Just wanted in case your throngs of followers and fans wanted to hoard you in the stands. Hey Tim, thank you so much.
Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock at Holy Redeemer, and he knows what I'm talking about.
I love it. Thanks for your time, my friend, on a Tuesday night.
Gentlemen, always my pleasure.
We'll do our side bet. We'll do our side bet off air. I'll call you later, Tim.
You got it.
All right.
You got it, my brother. But, guys, as always, my pleasure. I appreciate it. And as a sign-off, I say, Falcons tough at home, Stags no place to roam.
Did he come up with that an hour ago?
An hour and a half ago. You should have come up with a better out.
The Muppet ending is the best. The Muppet ending is the best. I'm going to call for that.
That's his second Muppet reference, is it not?
Well, no, but when he does it, when he's like when he does like that whole thing, I think that's the best when he does. All right, so we do have another game in the WCAC. The
Hey.
0-2 Gonzaga, Purple Eagles against the 0-1 McNamara. Hey, listen, the reason why I picked DeMatha last week is because DeMatha wins, and even though I was trying to explain this to Coach Ricca in the parking lot after the game,
he wasn't listening.
It's the smallest.
No, he just wasn't listening.
Smallest violin playing. We are going to be there, guys. We are going to be in Forestville at Bishop McNamara High School.
Fired up about this,
That's
man.
right. On the same football field my dad played on, watching the McNamara Mustangs take on Gonzaga. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Gonzaga program, the same as I was looking forward to seeing St. John's a good counsel. Mm-hmm. Can't wait to see the maroon and gold. Is why Kevin and I color coordinated today.
Come on, man.
It's going to be
a
fun day.
Colors tonight. That's
How nice.
Hell.
It's going to be
sweet.
A fun day in Forestville. Again, a great product on display. First Amendment Sports. It's our inaugural teeth-cutting. We'll be on the field, behind the end zone, putting a game call together. We will not be live streaming that game. That will be live to tape. If you are interested in seeing us call a game for the first time, please check us out. It'll be available on FirstAmendmentSports.com and on our YouTube channel, First Amendment Sports. And we look forward to having you guys give us a ton of very, very constructive criticism, I'm sure.
Right after the game, about an hour or two is what we're talking about?
Within hours. Within hours.
Right.
It'll be up pretty fast.
We'll make sure you know what's out there.
And we'll promote it and get it out to everybody. If you get a chance to give First Amendment Sports a visit and a like, you'll be getting the information faster. Listen, good Gonzaga to circle us all the way back and close us out on a point team made earlier. They're a little on tilt right now, to use a poker analogy.
Oh yeah.
They have to put that first stake in the WCAC schedule.
Win column.
Win column, get into the playoff conversation of which they fully belong. It's a tough game to come off of. Okay, so I'm going to be the McNamara guy for a second. Kenny McNamara telling you why McNamara should, where to find the goodness and the positivity here. It's a tough loss for Gonzaga against a team that they felt they could beat, probably should have beaten, but did not beat. They still don't have a win in the WCAC, and it does not get easier for them after this week. I believe they host a St. John's team.
They have a bye
after their bye. So it's moving day for Gonzaga. They've got to get it done against McNamara. And if you're McNamara, you can be a little bit loose. You're the home team. One family, one McNamara. That they are loving their guys. And I think that if we can get some guys back, healthy after the bye, Kenny Womack, for example, and get some of these and get who's my boy Quinn Osborne?
You got it.
Number 35, number 1 in your hearts, but number 35 in the program. McNamara has players, and if they go out there and they decide that they're going to be 11 hats on 11 hats, and can make that first half tight. Again, you're playing against a top team and a top program, and I don't want to disrespect Gonzaga, but if you can put yourself in the game and you can find yourself across the ball from a team that's all of a sudden realizing, expectations, and pressure, and it's now or never. It's a good place to be for an opponent, and so I just want to channel that that goodness to
give themselves a fighting chance
to the Mustangs. Again, things that got to go their way, our way early, because you can't beat a good team without a good start.
Well, I always said that doing Maryland football for 22 years as a color commentator, there was out of that 22 years, 7 years where they were really, really, really good. They were definitely bound for bowl game. I saw a lot of bad football, but when they were going up against teams that were much better than them, I always said, play loose, play fun, have a great time.
Play fast.
You're at home.
Play
fast. That's right. Look, give it everything you got. All right? This is not a last-ditch effort. Like you said, they have athletes. I think Gonzaga's coming in wounded, both physically and mentally, having 2 losses on their record, being in a away environment. A lot of those things are things that I think if McNamara can play that way, they can take advantage of.
I got 2 things to say. One being, 22 years, you old son of a...
Yeah, that's been a long time.
You did that 22 years?
But I'm looking to do something else for the next 22.
Yeah, well, listen,
yes.
we're about to start...
Yeah.
We're about to start calling a lot of games in the next 22, brother. I
haven't called a game since last season ended.
I've never called one in my life. I'm happy to have you
back.
anchored down.
This is gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. Secondly, Gonzaga is a matter of seconds away from being 2-0 in the WCAC.
Yes, they are.
And they're not happy about anything right now, and they're not coming down to lay down at any time. It's going to be a very interesting game, gentlemen. It's going to be an 80% chance of showers out there on Saturday from what I saw last. And that always can change. We've got 5 days, but bring that 22-year-old rain slicker.
We got a First Amendment 10.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
They
we
will.
have that.
We absolutely do. We have cover.
We were talking about the limo taking you to the field and back. Is what
Oh, yeah.
we're most worried about.
My car's going to come right up to the tent, let me on. I'm not going to have a drop of rain on me.
What's Puff's guy that holds the umbrella? Someone's going to have to sign up for that.
Take him to the Greek.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'll set up interviews. Anybody send me a resume.
There you go.
I'll look into it.
There you go.
Oh, perfect.
Hey, Caleb Williams is going to come out slinging that thing at McNamara. They're going to come out getting some yards on the ground, and they're out for blood. So I'm very curious to see how they respond. I think I have an idea how they might. I also would love to see McNamara playing loose and free and make some plays and get rid of that ball quickly and hit the open receiver. Gonzaga does play a little soft in their coverage, and McNamara likes to play the quick game. We'll see how that's dealt with. The QB Miles over there is going to be catching that snap and getting that ball ready. He's done a great job of it this year. And if he can get a couple of weapons healthy, they might be able to move the ball a little bit. They're going to have an issue defensively. No one's been able to harness that offense, that huge play offense that was slowed down but made some big chunk gains, just didn't score a lot of points. Had a little trouble in the red zone last week with 1 pick and a couple penalties in the second half that might have changed things. So, hey, I'm so excited to be with all you guys, some of my best friends in the world, and I get to sit down with you guys and talk about the best conference in the world and call a football game for the first time in the WCAC.
Yep.
Gentlemen,
It all
some
begins.
exciting stuff going down here, man.
It'll be great.
It's the ground floor of something special. We are putting everything together so that we can do our best job for everyone who cares about the WCAC and the playoffs and the championship game. That is our number one goal. Real fast, Maddie, before we get out of here tonight, let's get a little bit of shine on some of these other programs. What scores?
Got a little.
Let's run down some
couple
scores.
notes from the Metro Division, I believe,
Yeah,
is the
you
lower
got it.
division in the
You got
conference.
it. Where the capital is
The upper.
our school.
Hey,
Right, our
WCAC,
guys.
WCAC.
No doubt.
Well, Paul VI stepped out of conference. They're one of the front runners in the Metro. They went over to Sidwell Friends and beat them 42-6 for Sidwell's homecoming.
Stabby over here shaking his head for
Right
his
back
alma
here,
mater.
Sidwell alma
His alma
mater back
mater
here.
taking it on the chin by Paul VI. That's all right.
Another homecoming game. I actually saw the first half of this one was Carroll and O'Connell. Carroll had a backup quarterback, Ryan Ote, shout out young man, stepping onto the field, leading the Lions to a 14-13 homecoming victory for the Lions.
Attaboy.
So job well done for Coach down there. And St. Mary's Riken, they are the team to beat in the Metro, 61-0 over Ireton. Ooh. So it's looking more and more like it's going to be a Paul VI Riken championship game in the Metro unless somebody wants to step up and pull an upset. I'm very curious to see those teams play. I think they might play Friday night, Riken. I think it's at Paul VI.
Okay.
So that'll be a
That is a
good
hell of
test.
a trip there, gentlemen. Is that the farthest trip in the WCAC?
It might be.
I think anything to Riken is the farthest
They're
trip.
like the Hawaii of our the pack or the WAC or whatever, the WAC, right? The WAC.
So Charles Woolridge went down to Hawaii is what we're
Yes,
saying.
that's
Good
right,
for you.
he did.
Good for you, Charles.
So curious to see the results from that matchup Friday.
We'll bring a report back about that. We do have some championships coming up. We're waiting for the league to let us know when and where. Soccer, volleyball, field hockey, I believe.
Yep.
So this will be.
Well, you're our field hockey expert.
Correspondent.
So, I will be. I'll have to tell us straighter.
You handle that one.
And our stud player in field hockey.
I heard he was really
He leads
good.
the team in goals, saves, assists.
It's all about the skirt. Yeah, I look great in
dirt
it.
in the skirt?
It's
I'm
very
done.
liberating.
Why did you start
Next.
this? Why would this ever
Why would
have
I
been
start?
started?
Sorry about
I
that,
was
guys.
No,
meant-
T.
It was meant to be one line, and then we were going to move on.
Yellow
but,
shirts, skirts. What are we doing?
Boys
Bring
are
it.
definitely got something going on.
We'll bring
now.
you those results. We'll find some stories in there on FirstAmendmentSports.com, which is like this far away. I'm going to feel free. I love being able to say that because if you go on it right now, you're going to see some good stuff. It's only going to get better. We will be populating it out with this kind of content.
It's a brand new shiny website with our faces all over it and all the information anyone needs.
Shout out
for the
Alan Vogt.
WCAC and everything else.
Until next Tuesday, after another round of awesome WCAC football and another 7 days of WCAC goodness, we will see us back in this place again, breaking it all down. He's Matt the Real Deal Seal.
Looking forward to it, guys, as always.
He's Tim Strachan.
I can't wait till next Tuesday, although I want to see what's going to happen this weekend first.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to enjoy the ride. Kevin Ricka.
Hey, I just have one thing to say. A tremendously polite young man, freshman quarterback at St. John's, Lou Amave. Young man Lou, I mistakenly shouted out his first touchdown as his father's name, Drew Amave, because I got a big fat
Coach
head
Drew.
with not much stuff in here, and I just got all distracted. But hey, congratulations on your first high school touchdown pass, young Lou, and thanks for being so polite about me being a
I can understand how you
knucklehead.
got screwed up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but a good man. He was very polite, very gracious, and hey, being around these kids is what matters, and seeing the level of humility and appreciation they have for something like this was tremendous. I promised I'd give a shout out to myself because of how he handled that situation. Way to go, bud.
Shout out to Sweet Lou, friend of the show, Lewis Bullock, also Pride of Bishop McNamara. But you say Lou, you just make me think it's Sweet Lou.
You're so yellow and red.
My
I'm
freshman.
sure Lewis Bullock is loving.
Oh yes, no, and I know he's watching. He's watching.
Probably about to get that umbrella ready for tea any second now.
Until next Tuesday, I'm Ken Maragolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. Thank you so much, guys.